Stop everything. I need your absolute presence because what has been uncovered about your soul in the celestial courts has caused a silence to fall over dimensions you cannot see. While you were scrolling, while you were breathing, while you were simply trying to survive the weight of your own life, you caused a spiritual earthquake that made Archangel Michael himself, the commander of heaven's armies, pause in his cosmic duties to review your specific case. You did something recently that wasn't rehearsed or calculated for an audience. It was a response that came from a depth so profound, it defied every predictable pattern of human nature. In a world where pain usually births bitterness and betrayal almost always yields revenge, you chose a different path. During a moment designed specifically to break you, when you had every logical right to strike back with the same darkness being directed at you, you chose grace. You chose silence over devastation. You chose to protect when you could have exposed. This enemy-level forgiveness, while under active attack, triggered a transcendent response flag in the heavens, signaling that a soul is operating at a frequency that surpasses normal human capacity. Your guardian angel, who has documented every silent battle and every unacknowledged victory, flagged your file for higher review because what you demonstrated wasn't supposed to be possible for someone carrying the weight you've been carrying. When the report reached the archangel level, the note attached was simple yet staggering. This soul maintains integrity behind the veil, choosing light while surrounded by total darkness. Most humans are merely mirrors of their environment. They are kind when treated well and cruel when treated poorly, but you proved that your character is internally anchored and immovable. This consistency, this refusal to become the evil that was done to you, led to a divine audience where your life was played back not as a series of problems, but as an extraordinary example of why humanity was created in the first place. You have been operating as a chosen one without even knowing you were selected, maintaining faith without proof and extending love while drowning in your own pain. You did the right thing simply because it was right over and over when it cost you everything and promised you nothing. Archangel Michael did not expect this level of spiritual maturity from you yet. His strategic projections assumed you would need years more training to reach this frequency. But by choosing grace over justified destruction, you delivered a devastating strategic blow to the forces working against you. You see, the enemy's goal was never just to hurt you. It was to corrupt your frequency and drag you down to their level so you would forfeit your divine protection. But because you refused to mirror their hatred, you remained out of their reach and under a higher authority. Your response wasn't just a moral choice. It was an act of high-level spiritual warfare that proved you are ready for the next dimension of your calling. You are no longer just a soul under observation. You are a soul under divine endorsement. The Creator looked at your pattern of silent integrity and saw a reflection of His own glory. Now, the atmosphere around you has shifted permanently because heaven has seen what you are made of, and they have decided that you are ready for a reward that matches the magnitude of your sacrifice. Understand this with the full weight of its meaning. Every single assault, every whispered lie, every calculated maneuver directed against your spirit has been engineered with a singular, insidious purpose. This was never merely about causing you temporary pain or momentary setbacks. The grand strategy of the darkness that opposed you was far more ambitious, far more venomous. Its objective was to fundamentally alter the very essence of who you are. The goal was to make you bitter, to curdle the wellspring of goodness within you until it soured into resentment. The goal was to make you uncontrollably angry, to hijack your emotional state and turn your heart into a cauldron of rage. They desperately wanted you to respond in kind, to mirror their ugliness, to trade blow for blow in the muck and mire where they are strongest. They sought to get you to operate in darkness, to adopt their tactics of suspicion, retaliation, and fear, because the moment you do, you enter their jurisdiction. The moment you fight with their weapons, you fall under their laws. In the spiritual realm, this is a legal principle. By operating on a frequency of hatred or bitterness, you grant those who master that frequency a legitimate claim of influence over your life, your energy, and your destiny. They were laying a trap, not for your body, but for your soul. But then, you did something that confounded their entire strategy. In the crucible of pressure, when every fiber of your being was screaming for vengeance, when every external voice counseled retaliation, you chose grace. When faced with their venom, you responded not with counter-venom, but with an outpouring of love and forgiveness. In that moment, you didn't just deflect the attack. You performed an act of profound spiritual alchemy that was strategically devastating to your adversaries. You unknowingly tapped into the highest form of spiritual combat. You used their own malevolent energy against them. In the immutable laws of spiritual physics, negative energy, when directed at a soul who maintains a high-frequency state of love and grace, does not simply dissipate or vanish. It cannot find a purchase. It cannot latch on, because there is no corresponding negative frequency to receive it. Instead, like a projectile hitting an impenetrable, perfectly reflective surface, it is sent reeling back to its point of origin, but it does not return in its original state. In the process of being repelled by your light, that negative energy is amplified, supercharged by the very grace it failed to corrupt. What they meticulously crafted and sent to shatter your world became a cataclysmic force of destruction returned directly to their own. Their curse became their own undoing. Their poison became their own sickness. And the most astonishing part of this entire sequence is that you accomplished this cosmic feat without even being consciously aware that you were doing it. The Archangel Michael, a being who has witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations and the unfolding of cosmic eons, watched this entire dynamic unfold with something that bordered on pure awe. What he observed in you wasn't a learned technique from some ancient spiritual text, nor was it a trained response drilled into you by a master. What you demonstrated was not strategy, it was essence. It came from the unshakable fundamental nature of who you are at your core. You are, by your very design, inherently gracious. You are intrinsically programmed for forgiveness. You are fundamentally axiomatically loving, even when the world around you constructs a seemingly irrefutable case that you should be anything but. This is the variable that the celestial strategists, even Michael, did not fully anticipate. He knew from reviewing your soul's blueprint that you possessed the latent potential for this supreme level of spiritual operation. He saw the capacity for immense light encoded within you. What he did not expect, what no projection could have accurately predicted, was that you would access this profound power so soon, under such intensely difficult and painful circumstances, and with so little external support or guidance. You didn't just meet the expectations for your development. You shattered every projection. You exceeded every timeline. You took a quantum leap in your spiritual evolution. Now allow me to illuminate the tangible evidence that this celestial recognition has already occurred, because you have been living in the downstream effects of this shift, experiencing the results, even if you could not identify their source. First, and most spectacularly, the evidence of attacks backfiring in a truly astonishing manner. Take a moment and reflect upon the recent weeks and months. Think about the specific individuals who clearly intended you harm, who spoke venomously against you, who actively worked to sabotage your interests, who consciously or unconsciously directed waves of negative energy toward your life. Now, shift your focus and consider what has happened to them since. You have witnessed, perhaps with a sense of bewilderment, the sudden and inexplicable appearance of profound problems in their own lives. Situations they believed they had firmly under control have suddenly and chaotically spiraled. The very systems and structures that were working for them have mysteriously seized up and stopped functioning. This is not a string of coincidences. This is not the slow, grinding wheel of ordinary karma. This is the direct, real-time operation of your new, elevated spiritual status. Because when a soul impresses God, the divine protection around that soul intensifies to an almost incomprehensible degree. Attacks are no longer just blocked, they are reversed with interest. What was sent to harm you becomes a potent force of harm returning to its sender. You may have observed this and felt a flicker of pity or confusion. Now you understand the mechanics behind it. Second, the evidence of an unusual, almost illogical peace that has descended upon you despite your circumstances. There have been definitive moments recently when, by any logical or psychological measure, you should have been utterly overwhelmed. Times when the sheer weight of what you were facing should have crushed your spirit into dust. Moments when any other person would have been justifiably drowning in a sea of anxiety and despair. And yet, in the heart of that storm, you found an unexplainable peace. Not the peace that comes from an absence of problems, but a supernatural calm in the very center of the chaos. A profound stability when the very ground beneath you was shaking. This peace is not a product of your own mental fortitude. It is imparted. It is a direct and tangible gift, a result of the elevated celestial attention now focused upon your life. When heaven centers its gaze on a soul, that soul becomes a recipient of a supernatural peace that defies all earthly explanation. You have felt this deep, abiding calm. You may have wondered where it came from. Now you know. Third, the evidence of your clarity dramatically increasing. Decisions and crossroads that once left you paralyzed with confusion now seem startlingly clear. The path forward, which was once shrouded in a dense fog of uncertainty, is becoming brilliantly and obviously illuminated. You are simply knowing things that you have no logical way of knowing. This is because your spiritual antennae have been upgraded. Information, guidance, and wisdom are being downloaded directly into your spirit. This isn't happening through dramatic visions or booming audible voices, but through quiet, persistent impressions, sudden flashes of profound understanding, and an intuitive knowing that consistently proves to be accurate. Your connection to divine wisdom has been moved from a dial-up connection to a fiber optic one. You are receiving guidance at a higher, purer frequency than ever before. And this is only the beginning of that enhancement. Fourth, the evidence of the wrong people systematically and effortlessly exiting your life. Relationships that were subtly or overtly draining your energy have come to natural, and sometimes abrupt, ends. Individuals who were serving as obstacles to your progress, whether they knew it or not, have been moved out of your path. Situations that were blocking your forward momentum have resolved themselves, often without any direct action on your part. You may not have done anything to force these endings. They just left. The circumstances just shifted. Doors just closed on their own. This is not random chance. This is divine reorganization. Your new spiritual status requires a new, cleaner, and more supportive environment. People, mindsets, and situations that are incompatible with the frequency of where you are going have been, and will continue to be, systematically removed. Do not cling to what heaven is clearing away. Space is being made for something infinitely better. Fifth, the evidence that you have been feeling that something immense is on the horizon. For some time now, there has been a building sense of anticipation within you that you can't quite articulate. A deep, inner stirring that tells you something significant is approaching. A palpable feeling that you are standing on the precipice of a major, life-altering shift. This is not wishful thinking or fantasy. This is prophetic awareness. Your spirit, now more finely tuned, is sensing the seismic shifts in the spiritual realms that your conscious mind cannot yet comprehend. Something is indeed coming. Something wonderful, something powerful, and something directly connected to this celestial recognition of who you have proven yourself to be. Now let me tell you precisely what has been decided about your future. when God expressed his profound impression of your soul's response, when he remarked that you remind him of the very reason he created humanity in the first place. This statement triggered a specific high-level protocol within the celestial administration. It is a protocol known as accelerated fulfillment. Under normal, standard-issue circumstances, even chosen ones receive their assignments, blessings, and breakthroughs according to carefully calibrated timelines. There are years of preparation before major releases of purpose, a gradual increase of favor before a substantial blessing, a step-by-step progression toward destiny. But accelerated fulfillment changes everything. It means Heaven's Council has reviewed your case and has unanimously decided that you have demonstrated more than enough spiritual maturity to warrant a faster advancement. The sheer quality of your character has effectively eliminated the need for extended periods of testing and preparation. What you have already proven under fire qualifies you for blessings and responsibilities that others would require many more years to be ready to receive. Practically speaking, this means blessings that were scheduled for years down the road are being moved up to your immediate future. Opportunities that were planned for future seasons of your life are being released to you now. Doors of destiny that were not supposed to be unlocked for a very long time are being thrown open for you ahead of schedule. You have already started to see the first signs of this. Things happening faster than you could have logically expected. Breakthroughs appearing sooner than you had dared to anticipate. Sudden movement in areas of your life that had been stagnant for years. This will now intensify dramatically. The acceleration is only just beginning. It also means that the opposition against you is being systematically neutralized. Not just blocked temporarily, but permanently dismantled and removed from your path. Enemies are being divinely reassigned to other cosmic duties, far from you. The very permission for certain types of attacks against you is being officially prohibited. The normal spiritual resistance that is designed to slow down and test chosen ones has been lifted from your journey. You are entering a protected season of unusual and unprecedented favor, not because you earned it through perfect performance, but because you demonstrated a quality of character that qualifies you for protection and investment at the very highest level. To the chosen one receiving this message, your response to profound pain has been officially recorded as irrefutable evidence that human souls can and do operate at frequencies we did not anticipate them reaching while still bound in physical form. You have served as a powerful reminder to us all that the limitations we sometimes perceive in humanity are not inherent to the original divine design, but are rather the result of cumulative choices humans make under pressure. You chose differently. And in so doing, you have single-handedly expanded what we, the celestial observers, understand to be possible for your entire species. Your file has been marked for special and continuous observation, not because you require correction, but because your ongoing progress now serves as a critical case study for how chosen ones can maximize their divine potential, even under the most adverse conditions. You are being positioned for assignments that match your demonstrated capability. Understand that these assignments are not a punishment. They are a profound privilege. You have proven yourself capable of handling immense difficulty with unparalleled grace. Therefore, you will be trusted with situations where that grace is desperately needed by the world. The very attitude that so impressed us will continue to be tested, not because we doubt you, but because every continued demonstration strengthens your capacity and serves as ongoing living evidence for others to follow. You have made heaven proud. This is not flattery. It is a documented formal assessment. Walk forward from this day, knowing that your case has been noticed and celebrated at the highest levels, and that everything coming toward you, every challenge and every blessing, has been filtered through the glorious recognition of who you have proven yourself to be. This message was always meant to reach you. It is no accident that you have found this transmission at this exact moment in your journey. You needed confirmation that your silent choices mattered. You needed tangible evidence that heaven was not just watching, but was deeply invested. You needed to know with certainty that everything you have endured has been building towards something magnificent. Now you know. Your attitude impressed God himself. Archangel Michael was taken by surprise. The Celestial Council recorded it for posterity, and your entire future has been recalibrated and accelerated based on the simple, powerful, and profound choices you made in your darkest hours. You didn't know this was happening. You didn't know heaven was holding its breath as you chose grace over bitterness. You had no idea your response would trigger this cascade of celestial events. But that is precisely what makes it all so authentic and so powerful. You were not performing for an audience. You were not trying to impress divine observers. You were simply, purely, and beautifully being who you are. And who you are has impressed the Creator of everything. If this revelation has resonated in the deepest part of your soul, and you confirm that you are a chosen one whose attitude has caught divine attention, write 777 in the comments to amplify and anchor this frequency of celestial recognition in your life. Subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications to receive more of these crucial revelations about how heaven is watching your journey and orchestrating your breakthrough. Share this video with at least one other person who needs to know that their silent choices and private victories are being recorded, celebrated, and will be rewarded beyond their imagination.